this guy's garage. Like and subscribe.
Presenting petitions.
L'honorable député de Kawartha, Halliburton, Kawartha, Peterborough South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to stand here and present 3 e-petitions, all coordinated by a member of my riding, Mr. Brian Kerr. It is e-petition 4605, E3827, and E4274, all 3 totaling over 45,000 signatures that Brian has spearheaded amongst himself and others, calling for the federal government to look at a form of recall election which is not present here in Canada. Thank you.
The honourable member from Peace River Westlaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a number of petitions to present today. The first one comes from Canadians across the country who are concerned about Bill 21. This bill targets law-abiding firearms owners. The petitioners state that hunting and firearm ownership plays an important role in Canadian society and history. The petitioners are concerned that the government's intent to ban several hunting rifles and shotguns, including bolt-action rifles. The petitioners ask the government to leave their guns alone and to vote against C-21 to protect property rights of Canadian hunters. The next petition I have from
a point of order being raised by un rappel au règlement.
L'interprète nous signale qu'il y a du grésillement sur la ligne et impossible d'interpréter.
Ah bon, alors est-ce qu'on peut juste commencer
There may be, I would just remind members.
Works. Est-ce qu'on peut commencer encore une fois?
Can we just start over, and please don't shake your papers? I would just remind members.
On the second petition today, Mr. Speaker, it comes from Canadians from across the country who are concerned about the health and safety of Canadian firearms owners. The petitioners recognize the importance of owning firearms, and they are concerned about the impacts to hearing loss caused by the damaging noise level of firearms and the need for noise reduction. These petitioners acknowledge that sound moderators are the only universally recognized health and safety device that's criminally prohibited here in Canada. Moreover, the majority of G7 countries recognize the health and safety benefits of sound moderators, including their use for hunting, sport shooting, and reducing noise pollution. In many countries in the EU, for example, these things are actually mandated rather than criminalized. The petitioners are calling on the government of Canada to allow for legal firearm owners the options to purchase and use sound moderators for all legal hunting and sport shooting activities. The next petition I have, Mr. Speaker, comes from Canadians from across the country who are concerned about the folks that are showing up in pornographic material, and they want the government of Canada to pass C-270, the Stop Internet Sexual Exploitation Act, which will be up for debate tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Ottawa West, Nepean.
The petitioners are calling on November 26th to be named as National Economic Abuse Awareness Day. The petitioners note that economic abuse is a pervasive but often overlooked form of abuse that impacts 95% of women who face intimate partner violence, but it can also happen alone. The petitioners note that economic abuse undermines women's financial independence and amplifies structural barriers, especially for marginalized, gender diverse, and vulnerable communities. The petitioners call for funding, collection of disaggregated data, and a national day to raise awareness about economic abuse. Thank you.
The honourable member from Kingston and the Island.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have 3 petitions to present today. One is on behalf of members of the Queen's University community and residents of Kingston and the Islands that are calling upon the Minister of Finance, Minister of Families, Children and Social Development, and Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food to prioritize funding for a national school food program through Budget 2024 for implementation in schools by the fall of 2024. And they do indicate that Canada is the only G7 country without a national school food program and highlight the importance of it. The second petition that I have, Mr. Speaker, comes from Canadians who are concerned about The Environmental Panel on Climate Change's report that has warned us repeatedly that rising temperatures over the next 2 decades will bring widespread devastation and extreme weather. The undersigned residents of Kingston, the Islands, call upon the Government of Canada to move forward immediately with bold emissions caps for the oil and gas sector that are comprehensive in scope and realistic in achieving the targets that Canada has set to achieve by 2030. And the final petition that I have today, Mr. Speaker, actually the majority of signatories are from the riding to the north of me, Lanark, Frontenac, Kingston. These are farmers, beef farmers in particular, Mr. Speaker, who are concerned about the fact that the abattoir at Joyceville Federal Institution has been closed for almost 2 years now. These beef farmers have indicated that they've been waiting 6 to 9 months and in many cases up to a year to have their cattle processed at provincial facilities. The abattoir located at Joyceville Institution is on Highway 15 in Ontario and, as I indicated, closed in September of 22. They've indicated the negative impacts that the closure has had both economically and to businesses and restaurants that rely on their products, and therefore they are calling on the Government of Canada to explore all options to ensure that the abattoir located at Joyceville Institution is reopened to address the issues noted above. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Here. The honourable member from Lakeland.
I guess he's not quite ready. On behalf of constituents of Skeena-Bulkey Valley, a petition that calls out the Liberals' nonsensical attempt to ban law-abiding firearms and sports shooters. Those citizens call on the government, say that whereas the government has attempted to ban and seize the hunting rifles and shotguns of millions of Canadians, the targeting of farmers and hunters does not fight crime, and Mr. Speaker, and the government has failed those who participate in the Canadian traditions of sport shooting. Therefore, we, the undersigned, call on the Government of Canada to stop any and all current and future bans on hunting and sport shooting firearms. And I sure do know that common sense Conservative L.S. Ross would love to join the House of Commons to help axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime, Mr. Speaker.
Glad the honourable member caught herself there. The honourable member from Battle River Crowfoot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and it is an honour to stand and present a petition on behalf of Canadians who have signed it, and a cross-partisan awareness to bring awareness to the fact that 71% of volunteer firefighters in Canada are volunteers, and these petitioners in particular, while highlighting a number of aspects of the great work that our volunteer departments, including many of which are in Battle River Crowfoot, do in keeping our communities safe. The spoke specifically are calling on the Government of Canada to increase the amount of tax credits for volunteer firefighting and search and rescue volunteer services from $3,000 to $10,000, acknowledging the hard work that so many of these hardworking women and men do across our country, and specifically in rural and remote areas. It's an honour to table this petition today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.